Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of SCTV3. I'm Bri Hill.
And I'm Alex Thomas. Here are tonight's top stories. It's a mystery still that authorities have not been able to solve. Where is Malaysia Airlines Flight 370? There were still more questions than answers Thursday, as U.S. officials said investigators might start combing the Indian Ocean as they look for the missing aircraft. New information, U.S. officials told CNN, indicates the missing airplane could have flown for several hours beyond the last transponder reading. Also on Thursday, a Malaysian aviation official told CNN that the last known words from the flight crew of the missing plane were, quote, "All right, good night," unquote. Malaysian Civil Aviation Officer Zulazi Mod Anuazar said he couldn't confirm which member of the flight crew sent the message, which was transmitted from the plane back to Malaysian flight controllers as the aircraft transferred into Vietnamese airspace early on Saturday. For the families of those on board the missing plane, the wait for news is torturous. Quote, "Every day it just seems like it's an eternity. It's an absolute eternity," end quote, said Danica Weeks, whose husband was on the plane. Quote, "We can only go minute by minute and hope something comes soon," end quote.
Federal safety authorities launched an investigation on Thursday into a gas explosion that caused the collapse of 2 New York City apartment buildings, killing 7 people and injuring dozens of others. The still smoldering rubble prevented investigators from getting close enough to examine the main pipe that supplies natural gas to the Upper East Side neighborhood, said Robert Sumwalt, a member of the National Transportation Safety Board. The board reviews accidents involved in natural gas. The explosion at about 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday shook the East Harlem neighborhood shortly after a resident complained to the Con Edison Utility Company about a gas odor. 4 women and 3 men were killed, but only 4 victims' identities have been released thus far. At least 3 children were hurt, 2 were treated for minor injuries and released, while a 3rd is in critical condition, hospital officials said. Sumwalt said the scene was, quote, "in one word, devastating."
Weekend, Springfield College took a trip back a few decades with a performance of the classic musical Grease. While John Travolta wasn't there to play the role of Danny Zuko, the show was a success. Our very own Josh Gaines was there, and he caught up with all the action.
This past Friday and Saturday, a sold-out crowd showed up to watch the Best of Broadway perform Grease. The founders of the Best of Broadway Club showed up to watch today's talented young actors and actresses. They put on a great show and kept the crowd entertained with old classics.
With a 4 speed on the floor, they'll be waiting at the door. You know without a doubt, I'll be really making out Grease lightning. Go Grease lightning, you're burning up the quarter mile. Grease lightning, go Grease lightning. Go Grease lightning, you're coasting through the heat like trial. Grease lightning, go Grease lightning. You want some cream? The chicks will dream. Go Grease lightning.
After the play was finished, I was able to catch up with Chelsea Ammerman, who played Sandy.
I truly enjoyed doing Grease. It was an absolutely incredible experience working with everyone I got to work with here, the cast, the crew. It was such an incredible event that the entire campus could really be a part of and share in. And as a first-year student, as a transfer, it was something truly special for me. And I cannot wait till next year. I really enjoyed it.
Overall, it was a great show, and I want to congratulate everyone who participated. From SCTV3, this is Josh Gaines.
Thanks for that, Josh. Well, this week was the definition of New England weather. After a spring-like start to the week, we went flying back into winter. What can we expect for spring break week? Katie Benoit has more on this with this week's weather.